What's up, y'all? It's Calvin here, and I want to holler at you guys about yet again another Lil Nas situation involving the kids. And this time, he's saying "F your kids," all right? And this was in an interview with the Breakfast Club, which has a very sketchy background and past when it comes to sexual deviancy and all kind of crazy stuff like that. But at any rate, to get right into it, he was on the Breakfast Club promoting his latest album, all right? And it goes on to say, while promoting the project on the Breakfast Club this week, the rapper responded to, peep this, homophobic comments on Twitter and criticism that he's pushing a gay agenda on children, all right? So, according to, I guess, the person who's writing this article, which is Nye McGee, all right? Or maybe DJ Envy, I'm not sure, but it's definitely one of them. They view it as homophobic comments to tell somebody who is targeting your children with the gay agenda that they're targeting children with a gay agenda. All right, that is a homophobic comment now. Okay, so just wanted to note that. All right, now moving on, it says DJ Envy, who is a DJ guest host on the Breakfast Club, he asked Nas X if he feels a responsibility to tone down his provocative visuals, because quote unquote kids are watching. And they definitely are watching. The artist jokingly replied, "I feel like I used to, but now it's just like F your kids." All right, and we'll just leave it there. Now it says that he jokingly said it, or like whatever, so you can interpret whether that was real or not. Either way it goes, he said it. You know what I'm saying? And every time you turn around, this guy is a part of something that is targeting children. You know what I'm saying? And he feel like F your kids, even jokingly, all right? And this dude got nieces and nephews and all of that stuff like that. And if you go on to read the article, it will tell you that his family members, they don't agree with some of the stuff that he is doing, all right? So if you was wondering whether it's a family issue or like whatever, they are not down with that stuff at all. Okay, and if you look here real quick, you will see some of the guest stars that are on the Proud Family cartoon. This is the cartoon that's being remade, if I'm not mistaken. I never watched the original, so I don't really know much about it. I know that it's a black family, you know what I'm saying, the Proud Family cartoon. But at any rate, if you look at some of the people that are on here, it's not just Lil Nas X that is pushing this lifestyle. You have Lizzo, who has been a vocal proponent of the gender fluid lifestyle and the alphabet people. And of course you have Lil Nas, and then there is Gabrielle Union. She basically turned Dwayne Wade's son out. We have Leslie Odom Jr., which was a doggone shame. He's actually married and has a child, and he supports the LGBT community publicly on a couple occasions. And then you have Jaden Smith, who promotes the gender fluid lifestyle, and they're all mixed in with these children. And if you look deep enough, you'll probably find a whole lot more who are guest starring on this show, because they really want our young people educated with this stuff. And that's all Lil Nas is really being used for. This is an education that he is giving the children. Everything that he's doing, this is a curriculum that is being set forth all throughout the earth. Anybody that lays eyes on him. All right, but the main reason that I'm bringing this up, though, is to go into the spirit that is behind Lil Nas and everybody who is down with this whole LGBT community. All right, and if we go to Romans chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 18, all right? And it says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness, because that which may be known of God is manifested in them, for God hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Meaning that the world around you shows the very existence of a God. All right. Then it goes on to say, because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were they thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into the image made like to corruptible man. Meaning that they're worshiping themselves, okay? Man is worshiping themselves, and that's what you're seeing a lot with this whole LGBT lifestyle. It is humanism at its finest, which is pure Satanism. You know what I'm saying? It's basically getting on the mic and just saying, me, 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 me. You know, that's exactly what it is. It's the song of Satan, all right? And there's a lot of vanity and vain, attitudes that goes with this lifestyle, all right? So, all right. Coming back down to 23, and it says, and change the glory of the uncorruptible God into the image made like to corruptible man, and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things. Wherefore God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. All right. And that is crystal clear with the sexual behavior that these people have. All right. And then it goes on to say, who changed the truth of God into a lie. All right. Telling you that the rainbow stands for the Pride Month, and instead of the agreement that the Most High gave to us, saying that he would not destroy the earth because of the same behavior that these people are purporting and pushing all throughout the world. They took the symbol that marks the agreement that the Most High wouldn't destroy the earth for the same behavior that they are pushing, you know what I'm saying, with God's symbol of peace. You know what I mean? It is a mockery, and it is very disrespectful. And, it is right here in scripture of the attitude and what they do. All right. And like Lil Nas posing as a pregnant man, that is against the natural order of God's plan for man, woman, and child. Okay, so we're gonna hit verse 25 again, and it says, "Who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen." And that, again, just crystal clear upon crystal clear. These people are worshiping themselves, and you see it at their Emmys and all this stuff like that. They create statues, with the Civil War, right? They worship themselves, and it's idolatry and it's vanity. You know what I'm saying? It all ties back to those things, all right? So anyway, moving on to verse 26, and it says, "For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections," which is man with man, woman with woman, and all other things that they want to tangle and twist into, all right? And then it says, "For even their woman did change the natural use for that which is against nature," meaning lesbians, "and likewise also the men," meaning gay, "leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust toward one another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving themselves that recompense of their error which was met. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind." And reprobate means that they reject anything righteous, anything godly. They immediately reject it, all right? And it says to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, meaning that they want what someone else has. And one thing that you have to understand, men and women, about these gay folks is that these guys, they want the woman's position. These trannies, they want your spot, women. And these lesbians, fellas, they want your spot. All right. And they are very serious about that. We've had too many examples coming out saying that these people want to destroy the family. Okay. And they are dead serious about it. And this is the spirit behind it. They're very covetous. They want what you have. All right. That's why you've got Lil Nas posing to be pregnant, and several of these transgenders, which are really women, but they're posing as men and they're having children. They want to, you know what I'm saying, be able to assume that role and push you out. All right. So something to keep in mind. Then it says maliciousness, and we are going to look that up right quick. And if you go into the Strongs and look up the definition of it, it says Thayer's Greek lexicon, malignity, malice, and it says ill will, desire to injure. Okay, and that's where I really want to key in on that, is that ill will and that desire to injure, and it is a very strong desire. All right, and that is maliciousness. Okay, and we are going to give an example of that with the story of Lot. All right, and I'm just gonna read a little bit in Genesis chapter 19. All right, and it says, and there came two angels to Sodom at even, which means the evening, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom, and Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. And he pressed them greatly. All right, and that press means to urge. Okay, and so he urged them greatly, and they turned unto him and entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round about, both young and old, and all the people from every quarter. So the whole neighborhood of these people that get down like this, they all came out together in one accord. Okay, it's very key. Then it goes on to say, and they called unto Lot, and said unto him, where are the men which came in to see thee this night? Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. All right, and that know them means that they wanted to get to know them sexually. All right, and Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not do so wickedly. Okay, so these, like, the whole neighborhood came out to turn these guys out. All right, not knowing that they were angels. Okay, so continuing on to verse 8, it says, behold now, I have two daughters which have not known man. So Lot tried to give them, you know what I'm saying, his own daughters to marry them off, so at least they would, you know what I'm saying, do something righteous. All right, but no, and this is why Lot was urgently trying to get these guys, no, come to my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't stay out here. This is why. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole neighborhood was ready to straight up gang rape these guys. All right. So anyways, going back to verse 8, it says, behold now, I have two daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing. For therefore came under the shadow of my roof. You know what I'm saying? So just off the strength of who I am, let these boys make it. That's what Lot was basically saying. And this is what the multitude of people that came out from all the quarters, young and old, had to say. And they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came in to sojourn, and he wills need be a judge. Now we'll deal worse with thee than with them. So they was basically telling Lot, if you don't get out of the way, we gonna do you worse than we're gonna do these angels. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. So even when they got smote in the eyes, that wearied means impatient in certain definitions. All right, and so they were impatiently trying to find the door with their blindness. You know what I'm saying? They couldn't even see. They were just gonna grab a hold of something and start hunching. You know what I mean? And that's that desire, that's that ill will, that even in blindness, they bring out the whole neighborhood, very determined, very focused. Okay. And something else to take note of is that they had both old and young, both small and great. So there was an education in place that the children were also participating in this behavior. All right. Very key, because we are at the beginning stages of what this is about to turn into. Okay. So anyways, coming back to Romans. Okay. And pick up where we left off. and that was maliciousness, all right? And then it goes on to say, full of envy, murder, and debate. And this debate, that means contention, strife, wrangling, all right? And there's a part of it also that means of uncertain affinity. And that uncertain affinity, I am about to give you an example of what that is, all right? They can't be settled on anything, the way that they feel about people or anything like that. And this is what causes the strife within them on the inside, okay? But this is what it plays out to our eyes, okay? You take the example of Demi Lovato, all right? And she came out in 2020, last October, and she said that she realized she was bisexual when she watched Cruel Intentions, okay? And then you fast forward to March the 30th, 2021, Demi Lovato reveals she identifies as pansexual. But what does that mean? And anyways, you read the article and it goes on to tell you that she's attracted to all genders. So she just went to men and women and just called it something else, because it doesn't matter how you flip or to flop it. She's still sleeping with men and women. So anyway, pansexual, all right? And then you fast forward to May 19th, 2021, just a couple of months later, after she came out as pansexual, she comes out as non-binary and changes her pronouns from her to they and them. And she's probably speaking about the demons that are inside of her, because she got a legion of them, you know, jumping around and with these entanglements and so on and so forth, all right? But this is an example, though, of what an uncertain affinity looks like. They just jump around. They are uncertain. And this is very prevalent within that spirit. You know what I mean? And then at the end, they just try everything. You know what I'm saying? They're just wide open to just wickedness in general. Okay? But if you were to talk to somebody that was like this is what an uncertain affinity would sound like. Okay? And this is an article with Keke Palmer. All right? And it's about her opening up about her sexuality. My bad. All right, so with this, she's like promoting a song or like a TV show or something like that. But the article starts off and says, Keke Palmer is opening up about her sexuality and is refusing to define herself with labels, all right? And that's right there, you know what I mean, case in point. But she goes on to say, the video was to represent the young woman today. It's not the traditional woman. And it's very key that they have to bring it up. We don't do it the traditional way no more, meaning that they don't follow the laws of God. Like, that's what they mean by that, all right? And anyways, goes on to say, and not the specifics of, am I gay? Am I straight? Am I bi? The 22-year-old says in the latest issue of the magazine, I'm making the rules for myself, and I don't have to be stuck down to one label. And that is uncertain affinity. Right there. That's what it sounds like. And the example of Demi Lovato, that's what it looks like. And you mix that in with the rest of the definitions of the debate, with the strife, with the contention, you can see where it comes from. It's that inner turmoil. They can't decide on nothing. They are constantly trying to fill this hole, trying to fill this void. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing that's going to fill that void is the presence of the Most High, and we have to purify ourselves and follow His law to be able to dwell in the midst of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just people search and try to fill the hole with drugs, all types of things. It's not just sex, you know what I mean? And it all derives from that uncertain affinity, okay? So, anyways, moving back to Romans chapter 1, and we're going back down to verse 29. All right, and it says, full of envy, murder, debate. Okay, we already covered that. Then deceit, malignity. And that malignity, it doesn't exactly mean what I thought it did. So it may not mean the same thing to you as well. Okay, so get it here in the Greek. And the biblical usage of outline, it says of bad character, depravity of heart and life. All right. Malignant subtlety, malignant craftiness, okay? And the subtlety and the craftiness that these people have does not need to be taken lightly. They have managed to infiltrate into the education system. They have access to children. They are basically running this world, and that took a fair bit of cunning. And where it stands now, they are, slowly but surely removing the veil and showing themselves, you know what I'm saying, just one after the other. And it is purposed the way that they, stagger everything with the patience of, this person coming out and then that person coming out. Like, this is a plan, you know what I'm saying? So do not underestimate these people. This is not just a limp-wristed, effort here, like at all, mentally, physically, or spiritually. They are very devoted with their God, and they believe that they are going to win. This is just like the Tower of Babel, and like that's the end quest to like dominate God. That's what Satan wanted, to go to the sides of the north and be like the Most High. So do not get it twisted. And this was the definition of it that I just didn't really know about, and it is mischievousness, okay? And this is where you get the whole flag thing and things like that. Like, these people do very cheeky, very nasty little things that are very disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Like the Queen James Bible, you know what I'm saying? Very mischievous, all right? And if you can see some of the video footage to some of these pride gatherings that these people be having, you will see a whole lot of mischievous activity going on, like for real, for real. So, once again, another identifying marker that runs with this spirit, you know what I'm saying? And you can definitely see that in the case of Lil Nas. He been pulling all kind of antics. Okay, moving back to Romans chapter 1, verse 29, all right? And it goes from malignity to whisperers. And with this whisperers is another very interesting definition, all right? And if you see here with the Bible outline, okay, and the Strong's definition, it says a whisperer, a secret slanderer, a detractor, okay? Then it says a Strong definition from the same as G5587, a secret culminator, a whisperer, all right? So they're also whispering in private and plotting, okay? That's what these folks do. And they are definitely plotting on your children. Please believe that. Okay? They are plotting on you. And this is where you get these LGBT lessons that they be giving the kids, but they won't let them take them home and things of that nature. That's that whispering spirit. Okay? Very deceitful. Very mischievous. Okay? All right. Now, coming back to Romans chapter 1, and we're going down to verse 30. And it says, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, okay? And with that haters of God, you can see quite clearly that they don't match up to God's law. In fact, they find what God's law is, and then they do the opposite. It's always the direct opposite every time, you know what I'm saying? And that's because they hate the Most High. They hate man, woman, and child, the image of God. That's why they want to destroy the family so bad, you know what I'm saying? And that's why they're so covetous, because they're like really jealous, full of envy, you know what I'm saying? And don't think that this is just like the limp-wristed, approach that you may usually associate to, gays or like whatever. These people are in the gym, they are working out, they are in positions of authority and power, they are organized, and this is not a game, to them. This is a part of their hardcore culture. And at the height of all of that is pedophilia, okay? Just look up the Greek and Roman cultures, all right? It is extremely important to them, and it is important to the God that they worship, okay? All right, and then going down to verse 31, it says, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable and unmerciful, meaning that you could just casually sit back and joke and say, F your kids, you know what I'm saying? And parents are still going to go out and buy this guy's children's book. Kids are going to still be watching the Pride, you know what I'm saying? And they're just unmerciful with it, just unabashed, just out there with it. And this is what we up against, and this is what we're dealing with. So to close out this verse right here, it says in verse 32, who knowing the judgment of God, And these people know the judgment of God. They hear it all the time, you know what I'm saying? And they know man shouldn't be with man, so on and so forth. And they which commit such things are worthy of death. Not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. This is when these folks are coming out and like everybody is old clapping their hands and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? This is what the spirit that is pushing them, this is what it's all about. It is just head up against God. So that's just basically what it is. And I just wanted to bring up that aspect, particularly about the uncertain affinity, because it also goes back into Matthew 5:37. And it says, but let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, meaning yes or no. For whatsoever is more than these cometh evil. And with that uncertain affinity that these people have, you can see just the wealth of wickedness that is just flowing out of them. They just all over the place sexually, and they just doing it in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying? And it's just unrestrained. And once again, the Most High's words proved to be true, you know, and this is why I encourage you guys to come back to the scriptures. And I hope this resonates with you and allows you to see a little bit clearly what is driving Lil Nas and others who operate the same way as him. This is the Pod Roast.
Here come the hot stepper, here come the spiritual warrior. Excuse me, good people, I still love you like that. Hey.